My name is Alice. I am 16. Since I was a little girl, I have been dreaming of doing something for charity, helping people, or contributing to wildlife protection. You might think, great goals. What could possibly go wrong? Well, everything. I have to admit, I chose a very specific way of doing charity, and as a result, I messed up my whole family's life. I have a brother, David, who was 2 years older than me. He is such a materialist, and I always look up to people who live a minimalistic life. I wanted to convince David that all we need is love, not 20 similar t-shirts and brand new clothes every season. He was hopeless, and for the past few years, there was no convincing him. He wasn't really harming anyone, so our parents didn't bother. But the main story started about a month ago. My best school friend Lily was looking forward to saving the planet from climate crisis in her bright future. Meanwhile, we discussed what we could do at that moment. And then a dog shelter opened next to our school. Lily was the first to become a volunteer, and I joined her. But more than people, that shelter needed money. Lily insisted that we should try to find a way to help. She knew that my parents were wealthy, unlike hers. So her idea was that I should talk to them into donating significant amounts of money to the shelter. I promised Lily to try, but I really didn't want to. At the family dinner, I brought the subject up. It felt awkward to ask for money from my parents, even if it was not for myself. My dad smiled and slapped me on the shoulder, but said I had better focus on my school studies. And when I started working, I would be able to spend money on whatever I wanted. I was actually truly disappointed. But the worst part was that Lily had already promised more help money-wise to the personnel of the shelter. And moreover, she told all her classmates about our heroic plans. It made her more popular, and she was bursting with pride. I could not let Lily down. She was the one who would bring me chocolates when I was stuck at home with the flu, and she was simply my best friend. I felt obligated to help her. I suggested to Lily that we could both get a part-time job and donate the money we earned. Lily seemed very sad because it would take too long, and meanwhile, people would call her a liar. Then I came up with a plan. One day, when everyone was out of the house, I went to my parents' vault. I knew it was filled with cash. I would borrow some money, and then I would put it back a little later, after I earned it. Surely our parents would never notice. It was going smoothly. I took the money and was heading to my bedroom when I heard the front door open. I ducked into David's room, which was closer, and I hid the money in his bedside table and marched out just in time to greet my dad, who had come home early. Later at school, I boasted to Lily that I got us the money. She was as happy as ever, and so was I. That did not last for long. When I came home, there was something going on. My parents were shouting at David and waving the money I hid in his drawer. I recognized what had happened at once. Mom was cleaning up David's room and found the money. She checked the vault and saw where it had come from. David fiercely denied any faults, but then he saw my face. I was burning with shame. I rushed to my room and closed the door. I was breathing heavily and thinking about how I could solve the problem I had created. Mom came in. She hugged me and said that David was punished. He would spend a week in his room and would get no pocket money for a month. She asked me not to help him so he could learn a good lesson. I could not say anything. I just nodded. I felt so embarrassed. Later that night, I went into David's room and apologized. But he was very angry at me. No wonder! And refused to talk. Not only did I bring some problems to David, but now Lily and I had no money for the dog shelter again. But Lily had a new idea. She got inspired by some model and her ways of doing charity. This particular model declared that she would send her photos to anyone who donated to a certain charity program. And by photos, I mean the private ones. You know. Lily said we could do the same. I was horrified. I would rather sell all my clothes. But Lily was cool and confident. No one would ever know. There was very little chance that even one person from our city would come across this. Let's call it a promo campaign. Lily added that, besides, we would change our names, put on a lot of makeup, and wear wigs. It could be fun. I was hesitant and reluctant, but still, I had promised Lily to give this thought a second chance. Now, I cannot believe it, but back then, I finally decided that Lily had a good point. I invited her to my home where we planned a photo session. she brought lots of funny and kinky accessories with her. We took our clothes off and took pictures of each other, taking turns. We were in a playful mood and pretending to be models. But here comes my most important advice, guys. Never forget to lock the door. Because guess who came in? My brother David. He was taken aback and blushed, but Lily and I felt so much more ashamed. David slowly backed away, and I comforted Lily that he would probably never tell anyone. I was wrong. At dinner, he brought up the subject that me and Lily were not just best friends, but girlfriends. My dad literally lost his appetite. I tried to laugh and say we were not, of course. Then Mom got very angry at David and promised to make his sentence twice as long in his room. But I stood up for him. Actually, David thought I was a better person than I really was. During the next week, Lily and I earned a few $100s for the dog shelter. At first, I was very stressed. But since no bad consequences followed, I started to think that Lily's idea was brilliant. Until the very evening when I saw my dad checking my cell phone. I could tell by his face that he found the exact app with my profile and the pictures I had sent. Oh no. I didn't know what to do. I wanted to yell at my dad for taking my phone without asking, and at the same time, I wanted to cry and make excuses. Dad noticed me. He was red in the face with anger. He threw my phone at the wall and marched out of the room. The only good thing there is that Dad had no intentions of discussing anything. Well, me neither. I immediately went to Lily's place and suggested we stop our charity donations together right now, before somebody found out and it was too late. I had obviously already planned to stop, but Lily didn't want to. She became popular among school students. No one would have guessed how she made random people donate to the local dog shelter, but everyone knew it was due to her efforts and respected it. I was afraid to go back home, so I was as late as possible. I just imagined my parents sitting on the sofa and waiting for me, with the worst punishment they could think of already chosen. I opened the front door, closed my eyes tight, and stepped in. There was no one, just complete silence. I guessed I was just lucky that night, and that the punishment would just come tomorrow. It did not. I could not understand what was going on, but I figured that Dad told Mom nothing. I was so thankful to him and relieved. Still, I avoided making eye contact with him. A few days passed by, and David's punishment was over. I finally had stopped sending my photos. However, I noticed that Lily suddenly became busy and had very little time for me. I thought that she must have been offended that I left our charity team. Lily was reassuring me that nothing had changed, but I could feel it. Also, I ended up on bad terms with David. So, one evening, I decided to go and talk to him. Make amends, shake hands, you know. I knew he would be alone in the house. It was the perfect timing. Remember, I gave you advice to always lock the doors? Well, David left it open. And he was not alone in his room. He was laying on his bed with Lily. Oops. It was my turn to blush and back away. Now I understood why Lily was so busy. She was in a relationship with David. Wow, that felt weird. But I told myself I was happy for them and that it was none of my business. Full stop. Later, I asked Lily why she kept it a secret from me. She said the answer was obvious. She was 16, David was 18. They wanted no problems, so they were hiding their relationship from everyone. It would be nice to stop my story here and pretend there was a happy ending, but nope. I just started getting used to the fact that Lily and David were together when Lily confronted me on a street. She was outraged. David had broken up with her because of me. What? How come I was the reason for their split? It turned out that David had discovered the details about Lily's charity and dumped her. Lily thought I was jealous, and that's why I told David everything. But I did not. Lily refused to believe me. At home, I ran into David and had to endure his tantrum too. He could not imagine why I was doing such disgusting things, and also involving poor Lily in that. Excuse me? It turned out that Lily told David that it was my idea from the very beginning. Could my situation get any worse? And then the rumors started spreading at school. Students were whispering behind my back. I didn't talk to Lily, but I saw that she was suffering from the same prejudices. Somehow, the truth seemed to come out. My parents were called to school to talk with the principal. As I discovered later, Mom denied the rumors and was defending me. But Dad already knew the truth. So, my parents decided to transfer me to a boarding school for troubled teens. I was crying and pleading, but they were determined. So now I am packing my things before I leave home. Mom is heartbroken and does not want to talk to me. And my brother David just admitted to me that he was the one who started the rumors. He thought it was for the better, that I needed to embrace the consequences and be more responsible. Well, from that point of view, he got what he wanted. What could I say in the end? It's a pity that my good intentions have led to this. Me losing my best friend and having to leave my family.